Hello and welcome back to another episode of Media Munchers. I'm Mathian,
And I'm Adrian.
and today, oh my goodness, we got some headlines for you. We got breaking news: canceled comedian Louis C.K. to perform in Kiev despite Russian invasion, and we also have the Batman keeps R rating equivalent in the UK. Two equally important discussions, I
Yeah.
think. we we also have we're also gonna do the Multiverse of Madness trailer review slash theory breakdown slash all of that good graciousness, and then finally we got some Free Guy review. We're gonna review the movie Free Guy. I even got my little blue Free Guy shirt on.
Oh, nice.
You peeped
Yeah.
that?
I
Yeah, it was
did.
totally accidental. I promise. I promise. But before we get into all of that, we're starting a new segment called a Muncher Minute. Just a little quick tidbit, little thing. You may have known, you may not have known. I don't know. Let's find out, Big A. Did you know
Yeah.
there is an underground city of sorts in Moldova, sandwiched between Romania and Ukraine? In it, you'll find the streets named of a certain grape, like Pinot or Cabernet Sauvignon, however you say that. It's called Melitza Mici's wine cellar. It was an old limestone mine that retired in the late 1960s. Temperatures in the subterranean space, which stretch about 150 miles, stay consistently in the mid 50s Fahrenheit. Plus, constant humidity creates ideal conditions for aging to perfection. Roughly half the space, just half of it, holds 2 million bottles of wine.
Wow.
Damn, that's a lot of wine. This earned it recognition in the Guinness Book of World Records as the largest wine collection in the world by number of bottles. Visitors need their own vehicle for an hour tour for an hour tour with an expert guide into a tasting room some 200 feet underground. Did you see the picture on the dock?
Yeah.
Bro, this
Looking
thing,
at it.
you drive a car in it, bro. This underground city of wine.
Wow.
So those who love wine definitely got to pay a trip to the Mecca. There's a bunch of history for it. I know at one point during when like the USSR was still around,
Mm-hmm.
half of every wine bottle that went to the USSR came from here. It's also a distillery, like they make wine there as well.
Oh, okay.
Um, I thought it was crazy. I only heard about it because the family was talking about it, and only because of all the Ukraine stuff. And I was like, that's crazy. Like, I hope it survives. But I definitely would check it out someday. To drive a car. Anyway, that's my Muncher Minute. Let's keep it to a minute. Sorry about that. What about
Yeah.
yours, Big A? Tell me about yours.
Yeah, so mine is the release of the Proud Family reboot, Louder and Prouder.
There's a reboot.
Yeah,
of the
there's a
Proud
reboot.
Family?
It came out the same day as Free Guy did on Disney Plus.
Is it also an animated show?
Yeah, it's an animation. They revamped the style.
Mm-hmm. Like made it more modern or
Yeah,
whatever.
they made it more
cool.
modern. It's a different cast. Some of the same actors, I think,
I hope so. I hope they
but
brought some back
a
the
lot
older
of
heads. That'd be cool.
what do you call it, like musicians?
Oh, are on the show now?
Yeah, are on the show.
As a voice actor or as like musical talent or both?
I think both. There's some new characters that they're adding, but a lot of the same characters, I think they got new voices.
I have such weird fever dreams of that show from back in the day. I loved it. I loved
Yeah.
the show. I loved the family. I loved everything. I remember like the NBA episode, like the All Stars episode. I remember
The movie,
the movie
Peanuts.
with the peanut head.
Yeah.
Bro, I didn't know if that was what that was about back in the day. I was like, this is interesting.
Yeah.
But it was entertaining as hell. I loved it.
Yeah, and they released the first 2 episodes Wednesday, and I got around to seeing them, and I enjoyed them
You
for
enjoyed
what they
them?
were. Yeah.
Okay, man, I might check that out. A little
Yeah.
guilty pleasure viewing. That's a nice trip down memory lane right there, actually.
Mhm.
When you said it came out, you meant on Disney Plus the same time as Free
Yeah,
Guy. I was
yeah,
like, this
Disney
was out
Plus.
a year and a half
No,
ago,
no,
and I
no,
haven't heard
yeah.
about it. No, yeah. That's awesome. That's your Muncher Minute, huh?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Great. Well, with that, let's get right into the news. So it's just as crazy as it sounds. Canceled comedian Louis C.K. to perform in Kiev despite Russian invasion. So I was reading this article from, I believe it was the New York Post, and it says Louis C.K. is cracking jokes in a war zone. The Louis C.K. show in Kiev has not been canceled, tweeted a fan Wednesday. However, the online marketplace tickethunt.com is still hawking passes to the show at a 30% discount. That's a pretty good deal, Big A. So Daredevil's looking for a laugh can score choice balcony seats for approximately $11.70. Here's the rub. Concert goers will reportedly have to forego their own phones. That's not too uncommon. Like I think who did that? He's on SNL. Is it Pete Davidson? He's on
Pete
that at some of
Davidson?
his shows too. I mean, they're
Yeah.
real secretive nowadays. You don't want to be
Mhm.
spoiling the jokes for everyone. I understand that, but also like, what if the place is getting bombed? You feel me? So the venue security team will force audience members to put their phones on lock boxes so as not to leak any sensitive material. And so in this article said, but what's a few hours apart from your iPhone when you're busting a gut in the middle of a city under siege? I was like, what the hell? Like, I understand brothers got to make money, but like, do you really have to go to a place that's getting invaded? Like, I don't know. I thought that was just an outrageous headline, and I thought we had to talk
Yeah,
about it
that's
a little
crazy.
bit. I know, granted, Kiev, or I don't want to say Kiev, but Kiev or whatever, the capital of Ukraine,
Mhm.
it is a ways away from like the most eastern front that's currently being like hit the hardest, I would say.
Yeah,
But it's still not like immune from it. Like they're surrounded like pretty much on like almost all sides. Like this whole eastern front like is like a claw around them.
yeah.
I'm like, that's a really interesting time to be having a comedy show when everyone's fleeing the country.
Yeah,
It was a little sus,
that's something.
a little something else. You feel me? Uh, that's all I had to say about that article. But yeah, you want to take it to the next one?
Yeah, sure. So, the Batman coming out March 4th. So they're rated PG-13 here in the U.S.
Right.
And as you know, PG-13 here, or rather rated R here, you can still see it if you're under 18. You just have to be with a parent or guardian.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
There's a similar rating, PG or 15 rating as they call it
Mhm.
in the UK. If you're under 15, you can't see it,
Mm.
even with a parent.
Really?
And that's what the Batman is rated in the UK currently.
I mean, I don't know how strict it is over there, but I
Yeah.
don't think that's gonna stop many very people. Like you're saying, it's
Well,
equivalent to our NC-17?
No. To rated R, or
No,
it's
'cause we have
it's
another
rated
rating.
R level rating, like in terms of how they categorize it.
Yeah, like how mature it is or whatever.
But regardless, because it's rated 15, they're not allowed to see it if you're under 15.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Because to me, that's not equivalent to rated R. Like there is another rating that it's so
Right,
seldom
and
used,
NC-17.
and it seems
But
like that, does it not?
in terms of you're
In
not
terms of you
able to
can't
see
get
it
in.
regardless. But
I understand the age range
yeah.
is different, but if you're not allowing anyone under a certain age, doesn't matter what the age, that's pretty extreme, no?
Well, yeah, and that's what I'm getting at is
Yeah.
is that in the UK like they just have that
They're just not gonna
rating.
let
They
people
they don't
15
have
under,
they don't have like
like what we
like
have
there's a petition or whatever they call it
to change the rating.
to have an additional 15A rating, which
Oh.
would give that option to the parents as to whether or not
Mm.
take their kids.
That begs the larger question though. Like, I'm all for like if your parents cool with it and you're under a certain age and however the movie's rated in your country, like I think that was a bit extreme. Like that's the way it is there. It seems a little barbaric. Like
Yeah.
if your 14 or 15-year-old wants to go see it and you're accompanying them, what's the big deal, right? Like
Right.
that's where I stand on that. I think that's what most logical people do. But like the fact that they have to go and petition like changes to like the rating system and like I guess their local law, that's insane. I don't even think that's gonna pass before it happens.
Yeah.
Like I think people are just gonna sneak in, lie about the age. Also, who are these tellers that are gonna like card you? It's not like you're gonna see like a nude flick, right?
the thing is, so that's in the UK. In Ireland or in a nearby
Mhm.
region, they're able to go see it at 15.
Weird.
Like there's a rating over there that
That allows
they're
them to see it.
allowed to see it.
You
So
think
if
everyone's
they
gonna
just
flock
like
over
drive
there?
like an hour or 4 hours or
Who's
whatever
gonna go
it
through the
is,
trouble of that? There's a few.
right?
There's a few, but like
I think quite a bit.
you think it's gonna hurt the sales?
Enough to hurt the sales,
You
and
think
I
so?
think that's a big problem for the local movie theaters.
I'm surprised more. Like I'm surprised the
There.
studio hasn't said anything about this. You don't think like they get involved to if it's gonna increase sales?
I
bottom
don't think.
lines?
Yeah, it's probably not up to them.
Yeah, but you would think they would petition or lobby or whatever the equivalent is over there. But I guess not.
I don't know.
Man, listen, UK listeners, just go see it, man. Drive up to wherever you gotta drive up. Just go see it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. Let's take a quick break and then let's watch the trailer. Okay, and we're back with our thoughts on Doctor Strange Into the Multiverse of Madness. Badass trailer. I'm glad we got to see so much. It looks like he's gonna meet the Illuminati. It looks like, or like
Yeah.
the MCU's version of it, and
Mhm.
it's pretty obviously Patrick Stewart in the wheelchair. But which version, Big A?
Right. Well,
Which version?
I don't
And
know.
you can say that about everyone too, because not Caecilius. Is his name Mordo?
Yeah, Baron Mordo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that even our version? Like, did he graduate to this, or do you think that's another universe's?
I guess it could.
I
It
think
could. It could be
where he became like Sorcerer Supreme in his universe or something.
probably. Yeah.
I think
something
that's
like
more than
that.
likely what it's gonna be. That energy signature, we're pretty sure it's a variant of Captain Marvel, I think is what the rumor mill's turning out.
Yeah, I think that's supposed to be Maria Rambeau,
I think so, but which version
or the
again?
is that the daughter?
It's I think so. Maria Rambo.
Maria,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
is it
Or is it Monica?
Monica? No, Monica.
It's Monica, right?
Monica Rambeau.
Maria Hills, who we're thinking of, or something like that.
No, I think Maria,
Is Maria the daughter's name?
the mother.
Regardless, it's a Rambo for sure.
Yeah.
And
Anyways.
which one remains to be seen. But I think the bigger question we should be asking is, oh my goodness, like I know when multiverse is in the title, there's gonna be a lot of shenanigans. Is it gonna be so overbearing? Because I think I heard somewhere in an article that even Benedict Cumberbatch was like, I don't even know like how much love my story is gonna get in this one. Like you know what I mean? Like him as a
Yeah.
character specifically, because there's so many variants, so many evil alternate version people
Yeah, it does seem like they're gonna tie up like even Wanda's story carrying over
from
from
WandaVision.
WandaVision.
Yeah, I like how he talked about he's like, what did Viz think of the multiverse? And she's like, oh, he thought it was dangerous. And he's like, yeah, he's right. And
Yeah.
I wonder how bad it's gonna spill over. Are they gonna be able to contain things? How many things are they gonna set up? Like, is it just gonna be one big like kind of how Civil War was, but on a galactic scale, just like introducing people from everywhere?
Right, yeah.
Do you think they're gonna fold in X-Men neatly into this, or
I think they might like hint at it. Like obviously, if that is Charles Xavier,
Mhm.
that will probably I think it will that will be the extent of it.
Right?
Um, but beyond that, I don't know.
I think so much has happened in the MCU as they like write and expand the universe from like even 2008's Iron Man. That I
Yeah.
feel like my leading theory is that at some like using this movie, they're gonna somehow either like with all that multiverse stuff cross in X-Men and like throw them on Earth,
Mm-hmm.
and like instead of like they've always been here and they've just only now activated. But do you think they're gonna bring back the previous X-Men franchise? Because I thought all that kind of just like burned away.
There's rumors that Wolverine's in it,
Yeah, but which
but
version?
yeah, but which version,
Definitely,
right?
I don't think they'd do
So
Hugh Jackman. I think he's done with it.
maybe I don't know.
Would they? You can't keep beating that horse though, you know?
Yeah,
Like I feel
but
like
it
he's
is
done
Marvel. Like it is separate from what they've done in
in like the
X-Men.
Fox
Yeah,
X-Men.
the
Yeah,
Fox
yeah.
X-Men
Yeah, I agree, but
movies. So
I feel like they should just take the opportunity to turn over a new leaf and like introduce new versions of them.
no, yeah, I definitely would favor that.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
just they're way far past the Fox stuff. Like I think they've tried and they've done what they can do with that. If they want to fold in a couple people in their own unique way, like what do you think they're gonna do with Quicksilver? Like how we got in WandaVision, his actor is just that's it.
I
Like
think that might be it.
right,
I
just a
don't know
nod
that
to the
they
audience
would bring it back after not like pulling the rug out of
from that joke. You mean?
yeah, from that
Yeah.
joke.
See, that's what I'm thinking. If they were to bring him back and there was like a doppelganger of sorts in the same reality, it would be like he's from a different Earth and he just happens to share the same face. And like, I think
Mhm.
they're gonna cherry pick who they may have liked from the previous franchise,
Yeah.
and then give a whole new context to it. You know what I mean? But I
Yeah,
don't think
yeah,
it's gonna
similar to
be
what they did with Spider-Man. How
like
they brought like J. Jonah Jameson.
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then just give it a new context. I think that's the freshest way to do it. And you don't
Mhm.
need everyone. You don't need everyone's. I don't. We don't need Jennifer Lawrence's. His what's her name? Um,
Uh Mystique.
Mystique.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've had enough of all of them. Like I think everyone. I don't. I love you, Jackman. We don't need him as Wolverine anymore. It'd be cool to see.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see
In
a
a new
different
context.
version of
Yeah.
Wolverine.
No, I said if he's gonna come back,
Yeah.
give him a different context, or
Oh,
but,
okay.
give me a new Wolverine. Give me a younger,
Yeah.
shorter, hairier.
A little more like the comics.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I want to see that. I don't want to see Hugh Jackman. I love you, but you got other stuff to do, man. You got other stuff to do. That's pretty much it. I mean, I hope. I know there was an article came out recently where like one of the Russo brothers was like, "It's too much." I'm like, it doesn't have to be,
Hmm.
but I do like he was implying that all the multiverse stuff is gonna open up too many cans of worms for people, and like it's
Okay.
gonna overwhelm a lot of people. And like I was like, we did all right with Infinity War. I know it wasn't multiversal or anything, but like
I mean, Spider-Man No
yeah.
Way Home did well.
Well, I mean, it is
That
Spider-Man though.
Yeah, it is Spider-Man.
He can almost do
But
no
I
wrong.
feel like that was almost the perfect conduit to explain what the multiverse is and like kind of how it works for the larger audience.
I agree completely. I think that if without that, Russo might have had a point, but that was such a good
Yeah.
entry to it, a softball like entrance.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
I think a lot of people are gonna, and everyone who's going to like pay, get pre-order these tickets and go see it the opening weekend. Like they're not dumb. They're pretty wise to everything that's going on. They're more
Yeah.
than casual, I would say.
Right,
They're
right.
slightly more than casual audience members. It's all the family members that are getting dragged in they're gonna need that little explainer here and there. You know, like the
Yeah.
older people or whoever's just not with it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So yeah, that's pretty much all my thoughts on it. I'm excited. There's a lot to be hyped about. So who knows how many cameos we're gonna get? But word on the street is plenty. So
I'm sure. Yeah.
yeah, all these reshoots allegedly were for that. We're gonna take a very brief break and then we'll be back with our free guy review. All right, and we're back with our free guy review. Just getting right into it. Let's give a little background. So, Free Guy, it stars Ryan Reynolds as Guy, just a bank teller who discovers he's actually a non-player character in a massively multiplayer online video game and becomes the hero of the story, trying to save his friends from deletion by the game's owner. A bunch of people star in it. My one of my favorites is Taika Waititi as like the big evil overlord.
Yeah.
Yeah, like CEO. That was like my favorite.
Antoine.
Antoine, dude, he plays that guy so well. We're gonna get
Yeah.
into that. But this movie was supposed to release under 20th Century Fox because we got all those trailers and teasers with Taika and Ryan being like, "We've never worked together before." And
Right.
he's like,
Right.
"Yeah, never." And it's like literally on the set of like Green Lantern or something. They made some joke about it, and um, and then that happened in 2019, and then nothing. And then COVID, of course, came, and then just I forgot about the movie until like they started remarketing everything. I was
Hmm.
like, oh yeah. And then by that time, the Fox and Disney merger was setting in, or like when Disney bought out 20th Century Fox and everything that
Hmm.
came with it. So it's still released even when we played it. Like it still had that little logo, but it's now under Disney. So I thought that was interesting. I don't know if they're gonna keep Fox around or they're just gonna like, whoop, whoop, you're Disney now. But
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That doesn't really matter. The point is this movie was written before, and we'll get into it later.
Yeah.
That happened, and so there were certain things the producers asked for, like all the spoilers, like all the Captain America and Star Wars property IP stuff at the end.
Right.
So
Right.
like they asked permission for it, and it's like whatever, we own you, yeah, it's fine. So I thought that was neat. But you want to get into it?
Yeah.
Tell me
So
about your initial thoughts, big man.
yeah. So I kind of felt like going into it. It felt a little awkward because it felt like it was kind of writing on Ryan Reynolds a lot,
Mhm.
especially in like the very beginning, the opening,
Mhm.
with the voiceover. It felt very much like Deadpool.
Yeah, I can see why
Um,
you'd say that.
However, as it went on, I felt like Ryan Reynolds sort of became a bit more like endearing. It also felt like it was relying on the audience to know that it was a video game
Mhm.
before even setting up the rules and like how this particular video game operates.
Right, right, right.
And that all kind of made it hard to initially get into.
Oh, I see, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Cause did you didn't have too much as a casual, like you didn't have no like you
Yeah.
didn't have any concept of how the movie was before you sat in it? Or are you just
So
saying
so
in
like
general?
I saw the trailers and I saw this movie like late.
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course.
This was on my rewatch or my
Disney Plus, right?
no, well, yeah, I saw it on Disney Plus, but this was on our list
Oh, of things we wish we had
of
seen.
things we
That's
wish
right.
we would have
That's
seen.
why we're
Yeah,
getting into it late, guys. I'm just kidding.
yeah,
No, but it's all good. It's all
yeah.
good.
Yeah, so I saw this one late, and so I kind of forgot like what kind of video game it was,
Oh, I see. I
and
see.
so jumping into it,
It was a little jarring.
yeah, it felt like okay, well, like what's going on here? 'Cause-
Ah, I see. I
yeah,
see. So for me, it was different for me, and I guess that has to do with expectations and marketing primarily. But I knew what it was from the jump, and I thought it did a great job of like just showing how over the top and crazy it was from this NPC's person's perspective.
hmm,
And I thought it was great. So I wasn't as jarred as you were because I was like, I know what's going on here. I'm with it. I'm also a huge gamer, big A, whereas you are less so, right? More
less so. I
casual.
mean, I understand like what kind of game
No,
it
I
was and
know.
everything,
I
but
know, but
but
like
yeah,
I'm
like
like I'm in it. I'm hardcore. I game every day. So like I'm with it. No, I hear you. Um but speaking to that, I love how it's inspired by many games, not just GTA, but I'm gonna say
right,
GTA Online a lot because it's the closest thing to it.
hmm,
With all like the missions and the killing, the explosions and the guns and the cars, like that's just the closest thing to it, straight up.
yeah,
So I like how that style of that game lends itself to the over the top CGI and the camera movements and all this ridiculous stuff. Like even later when Guy is getting into he's running away from the moderators, if you would, like one of the co-creators and some other guy in the pink bunny suit.
oh
I
right,
like how
yeah,
like there's like the building shooting around and they have God mode because they are administrators of the game and they can do whatever and build whatever. I'm assuming and have like
hmm,
power ups. I love how all that was just dramatic and like it was just way over the top and it worked because it is a game. You know what I mean? And
right,
like that just felt like a perfect medium for that. I think the overall conflict is nice. I enjoyed the former co-creator Millie and I forgot the dude's name, but I'll bring it up later. I like how they try to prove that the AI code they made together, they wrote together, was stolen by Antoine and like rewritten,
hmm,
repackaged into this game. Um, I like the larger implications of AI life and what that means for us as a society. I thought that was an interesting topic to just casually like write into a movie, like about video games and all that.
Yeah.
And like after beings like this take on life, like do we have the right to stop them? What does it even mean to be alive? Are we a simulation? You know what I mean? There's like plenty of great questions asked. Did you get that same vibe, or was it just more like an
Yeah,
afterthought to
yeah.
you?
And that's the point that I was trying to phrase was with Ryan Reynolds, how he became more endearing throughout the movie.
Right.
And it was through those existential experiences
Mm-hmm.
um where it made him like just feel more like a character, not just a caricature of
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds.
And that's in my dislikes. We'll get into that later. But
Yeah.
like it does trade on that a lot. And it works because he's an NPC, but at the same
Hmm.
time, we'll get into it, trust me. Jumping towards the end, the cameo by Chris Evans, if FYI.
Oh yeah,
That was
that was
awesome.
great.
That was
And
fantastic.
he said, "What the
What
shit?"
the shit? Yeah.
Just like Deadpool in his movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
been so long.
I think that was like supposed to be like a riff
Oh, I didn't
on
even.
it. Yeah.
It's been so long since I've seen Deadpool, man. But that's another layer we like. No, but apparently that was suggested by Ryan Reynolds' wife, Blake Lively.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Wow,
So
that's funny.
yeah, exactly. So that was awesome. So he was shooting defending Jacob, and he was asked if he can come by for 10 minutes, and he said yeah, and then that's how we got the cameo. That was so cool. Um, sheesh. Yeah. What did you think of all the cameos? I see you have a list here.
Yeah. Maddie Carteropoli.
Uh huh.
He's from Stranger Things. He's that.
Like, is he one of the kids?
No, he's the nerdy the older guy who works at the video game store.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's that dude.
Nice.
I thought it was funny seeing him play that gamer
Oh, like the
with
kid
his
who
mom in
lives.
the
I
background.
have some thoughts about that, Big A. I don't think.
Yeah.
Listen, that line hit me a little too much. That's in my dislikes. You're 22 and living on in my house. There is no God.
Dude, yeah.
Bro, I'm 23 and I'm living at home. All right, like
Yeah, same
if he was
here.
40, it'd be different. Shit, if he was 30, it'd be different. I was like, that was forced. I'm mad at whoever wrote that. but but I'm in school.
Yeah, I
There's a
thought that
different.
was great. Hugh Jackman, I don't know if you caught his voice.
I did
He
hear
was
something that sounded like his voice. Was he a voiceover? Or was he one of the bad guys? One of the baddies?
he was the one giving the information to our main Millie.
Oh, about the Australian accent and all that?
Yeah.
Or he's like, is that a voice?
Yeah,
at
he
the
brought
very
it
the
up.
beginning.
Hmm.
Ah, that's why he sounded familiar. That's great. That's a great cameo. And then of course Channing Tatum, he was awesome. I loved his little thing earlier. Or later in the movie rather, when he was like helping him out with the drive and all that. He
Right.
was the same guy, obviously, who was skydiving at the beginning and introduced us to the whole movie. I thought that was a perfect use of him. Um, let's get back into more likes. At the beginning, it has to go off of your how he becomes more endearing, but I like the naivete of blue shirt guy, and what's even better is like for the first half of the movie, everyone assumes he's just another character who has that skin on of an NPC,
Right.
and so like no one takes him seriously when he says everything candidly. Like that really worked for me.
Yeah. Those are some of the best jokes.
There,
Yeah.
there were so many lines in here, and that goes off of another like that I like is that everything, all the dialogue is really modern, and it feels like pretty natural. Like there wasn't too many lines I had issues with. And so I
Hmm.
was like, this is great. Like it immersed me more in the real world, and then more importantly, the game, because like there was even a joke he had later when he was with Millie's character. I forget her name, but it's like Molotov Girl or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, you want to hear a joke? And then he just goes on like one of the most stereotypical gamer jokes. He was like a homosexual and a
Oh,
disabled
right.
person got into. She's like, no, no. And I was like, they got that part of the culture right. That's good. That was a nice little touch. Also, going back to cameos and appearances, I like the integration of real world celebrities and even like Alex Trebek to show what a cultural phenomenon like the blue shirt guy was becoming
Hmm.
in the movie. And I just gave more credibility to it for me. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I like how it's becoming such a hit in the real world. But that's also a dislike for me because another thing I wrote is that the weird social movement they had, like for a brief second, about not killing NPCs and being good in a video game didn't make sense to me. Especially if like the general public didn't know that he was an AI at the time. Like they just assumed it was a character playing as
Yeah.
an NPC trying to send a message or something like that.
Right.
So I was like, dude, people don't behave on that. They don't behave like that in GTA 5 online right now. And like, why would they? Like, it's all fake. And even when you do kill other real people in the game, they
Hmm.
just respawn with like maybe a little bit less money. Like that's just the name of the game, just going around being a jackass.
Mm.
So like that part didn't really sit well with me. I was like, well, like why are we being woke about this video game for a second? Like it's kind of weird. Now hold on. If they had known it was AI, that even raises more questions because I'm like, what if people did know that the NPCs had artificial intelligence and they had feelings and thoughts or whatever, and you were like shitting on virtual people's day, like virtual
Right,
real
right,
people, you know what I mean? Who
right. Yeah.
didn't have anything to gain by playing the game, but were just kind of like stuck there.
Hmm.
All kinds of stuff, Big A. No one thinks to ask these questions. I'm asking these questions, Big A. But anything else? What were some of your likes, man?
I liked how his story came up uh to amount to like a positive message,
Right.
and
Okay.
how like essentially he was saying you can be whoever you want to be,
Mhm.
and like that should be your reason to go past uh certain expectations that are already set for yourself.
Right. And by others too.
Yeah, and by
Because
others.
remember, there was a very pivotal moment when he wanted to try something new, and he wanted to try, what was it, a cappuccino instead of
Yeah,
a coffee?
cappuccino. Yeah,
Yeah. And she was like, "What?" And he's like, "You're gonna get shot," or like everyone in the
yeah. The tank
cafe.
started turning towards him.
Yeah, that was a nice
That
subtle
was
thing.
you.
No, that was a
You
real
think
thing.
like that made sense in the video game? Because I felt like that was a little
Well, what it
odd,
was
but I understood like what they were getting, like doing
in
it
a video
for.
game that doesn't make sense, but in the context that like they are all latent AI, and he
Mm-hmm.
was awakening them by doing that, that made sense. Because remember,
Right.
after he asked her that question, she kind of like broke the matrix, so to speak, and we're gonna talk about that in a second here.
Yeah.
And now she decided, like, all the like, remember that big rallying moment towards like third act where like all the NPCs like basically went on strike and they had their own hopes and dreams and like wanted to break out of the system.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like where the impotence of all that started. I feel like where he was just like, it was the sparking moment. Like everyone was like woke up. That's why I
Mm.
think they started acting like that, because you're someone's going against code, you're going against protocol.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I mean? I understand it's weird and wonky because like they're NPCs, they shouldn't be like upset that someone didn't say a line correctly. But I think the AI has excuses that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
I think that's where they were going with that. That's my
Yeah.
justification. Um, Jumping around, likes again. Taika Waititi as Anton. We talked about this. The asshole CEO of the game is fantastic. Grubby, eccentric. It's all about profits and PR above everything else. You love to hate him. You hate to love him. IPs and sequels. That's what people want. Like that, dude. He's freaking hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Oh
many
my
funny.
god, he's so many lines. I
Yeah.
can't quote them all. Dude, the kiss between Guy and Millie's character was
Mm-hmm.
freaking hilarious because it's like a touching moment. They play it up. The cinematography's right. She's like, sure, if you know how to, you know what the button is for that. And then he kisses her, and like it just cuts to her IRL, and she's like,
Right.
"What is going on here?" But then a dislike I have with that is that later, when he gets reset, his memory gets reset, and he goes back to being an NPC, and she kisses him. I'm like, okay, where's
Mm-hmm.
the kiss button? Did you just code that right now? Where did that come from? How do you know how to kiss as a player when that's not a built-in feature?
Yeah.
It's such a small thing. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. No. And that goes into my dislikes is that it kind of didn't really set up the rules for how the video game sphere, like how all that works.
Oh,
Like
exactly.
it didn't set up like boundaries, like
What I
what
think
what they were and weren't allowed to do.
I can see how that's a dislike, and I think I excused it way more because I took the entire movie. My preconception going in was just like, okay, this was just gonna be like a mindless action fun, and
Hmm.
it just kind of so happened to have a deeper message. That's the way I took it.
Yeah.
And when you come to it with that mindset, you kind of excuse a lot. But I see what you're saying. Like they were kind of making rules as they went
Hmm.
throughout the film, just for the sake of like a narrative. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they did do that, so I can see why that's a gripe. I'm not even disagreeing with you right there. Some other dislikes is it can be like briefly preachy and political at times, but that's the world we live in. So I was like, whatever. You got to get your vegetables in. Um, the ice cream scene was cute as well, but like, why would Millie humor eating virtual ice cream? Like, if you're just
Yeah.
playing a
Yeah. That
game,
was another thing.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's
Yeah.
it's just for the sake of the narrative, so the NPC could have like a little date. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, Another dislike I had was Ryan Reynolds. His improvs, like they're just, I don't know. He does it every chance he gets, on any set he's on, and they don't always work. And like even at the beginning when it was a harder pill to swallow, I was like, man, he is such a caricature of himself at this point. And we all excuse it. We all love Ryan Reynolds. He can
Yeah.
do no wrong. But I'm just like, some of these aren't hitting. And you know what? No one's brave enough to tell him. Some of these lines are just weird. Like I think one or two I liked, like the whole. But one of them what I liked was still weird was the one in the coffee shop, and he's like something about baby Jesus and told my dad
Oh.
I was worthy, and I was like, what? What is this? Like,
Yeah. I didn't understand it.
I don't know. Like he was, like the coffee was deemed great, or he was deemed great by Jesus.
Right, he just has to say something interesting.
He has to say something off like
Or
filter,
yeah,
like just
off key.
yeah, just something weird, and like, haha, that's that zany guy, that's Ryan. But anyway, unless you have any other likes or dislikes, I'm getting ready to get into this conclusion. Any other things you want to get in there?
I thought the format of the movie was kind of odd too, because they kind of played it like it was a mystery.
Uh-huh.
Even though like we were supposed to know it's a video game, everything. The only real character who comes to find that out is Guy.
They play what as a mystery exactly?
The way that like they were revealing the reason behind why he's having the existential crisis,
Right.
why he's now suddenly able to control everything.
So like they're basically saying that, like, you're basically saying that they kept the whole that he's an AI thing like in the back pocket until like the very end is what you're thinking?
So sort of like it didn't the contextualization as to why he uh was suddenly sentient
Mm-hmm.
didn't come until after they had already presented that he was sentient.
I see. I don't think it was important until the end. I think that's why they did that, because if you'll recall, the beginning conflict and the whole reason why that
Mm-hmm.
Millie girl was running around in the game in the first place is that she wanted to prove that her work had been stolen, not because anyone was sentient. That happened to be something that just so happened to work in her favor, like
Right.
as proof.
Yeah.
Because
But I think that not being the main story and that not being the opening made for a
oh,
weak opening.
I see. That's
Yeah.
the way you see it. Okay. All right. I can respect that. I turned my brain off for most of this movie, and rewatching it was still good. It was just as fun. I that's my conclusion, is that Free Guy is fun, and it's like a crowd pleasing like
Mm-hmm.
action comedy flick, and but it also happens to be a little bit more. As I said earlier, the dialogue is very modern. The design of the online world drew inspiration from many games, and it didn't feel like the production team was entirely out of touch with like online culture and all that. It seems like they did their research quite a bit
Yeah,
for
yeah.
my money. Um, so like I think they knew what their target demographic wanted. But to me it also felt like a better reboot or like spin-off of like The Matrix, or at least that concept.
Yeah, it felt like rewatching Resurrections.
Yeah, but better.
Yeah, but better.
That's the sad
Yeah.
thing though, you know what I mean? And it also goes back to what Antoine was saying, is that he's like, people don't want, like original ideas. They want spin-offs and reboots. And it's sad that like that's still very true, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of facts spit this film. But it's still like a more comical take on like the Matrix, or like at least that idea. And it's modern, like I said, and it's at times a bit zany. We can thank Ryan Reynolds for that. But the conversation they have with Buddy and the blue shirt guy, like Ryan Reynolds' best friend in the film,
Yeah.
was important. And I think that was like basically the thesis of this whole film, is like
Mm-hmm.
existence and relationships seem to be what the film posits as the point of living, and that makes it a balanced film to me. And it feels like it knows what it wants to be the whole time. Like it plays up the jokes when it wants, and it's not allowed to. It's not afraid to let things be serious. Like at the end when the relationship between Millie and her co-creator, that dude, I forget his name, is not important.
Yeah.
Like they have that little
Well, he's
moment with
played
coffee
by Joe Keery from Stranger Things as well.
as well. A lot of
Yeah.
Stranger Things going on in this film. Um, yeah, like I thought all that was touching, and it was enjoyable, and it was a good time. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, you don't if you don't think too hard about it, it was actually a pretty awesome
Mm-hmm.
experience. So I was pretty happy with this guy, with this Free Guy movie. What about you, Big Apple?
Yeah, yeah. I think it was a good time, definitely.
All right, Mikey.
Yeah.
What'd you think, Mikey? You think it was a good time? He's like, can we eat now? Yeah, we can go eat. That's our review of Free Guy. Thanks for joining us on our new and updated set. For Media Munchers, I'm Mathian,
And I'm Adrian.
and we're gonna catch you next time.